What's up guys, today then what I have for you is another episode of Destiny 2 Mythbusters, the one show that everyone seems to enjoy. Thank you guys so much for the ton of support that you actually do put on these videos. It's absolutely crazy. Thank you guys so much. And speaking of support, if you could just smack a like before this video starts, let's just see how many likes we can get on this video. Thank you guys so much. And now before I do officially start this, I just want to say this is the last episode of Destiny 2 Mythbusters before Curse of Osiris is actually released. And what I'm thinking about doing after Curse of Osiris is released, when I do a Mythbusters episode after that, I'm thinking of doing the first one Curse of Osiris theme. Did that make any sense? So a week from now, obviously Curse of Osiris will have obviously already been released. Do you want that episode a week from now to be Curse of Osiris themed? Let me know if you guys would like that, and then I'll make an announcement video before that, and I'll get you guys to comment down below Curse of Osiris themed myths for that episode, because of course Curse of Osiris would have already been out. You guys would have played around a little bit and you would have known what's in the game, how the exotics work, etc. And you can comment down below a ton of Curse of Osiris myths for next week's episode. But just let me know if you want that, and I'll be sure to do that for the next episode, which will be next week. But nevertheless, let's talk about this episode then. The first one is coming in from King of Mobs. Myth 1: if you shoulder charge right before you hit the ground so that you are still in the animation when you land, you take no fall damage. So of course we tend to use the Leviathan at the very start for like a testing arena, and that's where we're going for this one. So let's show footage of me just going through that shooting cannon without shoulder charging before I hit the ground, and let's show one where I actually do shoulder charge before hitting the ground, and see if it does actually give you no falling damage. So let's take a look. So as you can actually see from that, a lot of people already know the answer to this one, because I believe this even worked in Destiny 1 as well. But yes, you can skip the fall damage just by shoulder charging before you hit the ground. So nevertheless, let's move on to the next one then. If you hold tractor cannon right after starting the adventure, no safe distance, with the combination blow tree on Arcstrider, your melee animation will not play and you'll just lunge at enemies with the gun. Wanted to see if this works for anyone else. Now I want to actually talk about this myth after I show the footage, but nevertheless, let's show what he's talking about.
Someone I can count on. The Cabal are moving high-yield explosives through that base. You need to neutralize them before they're used against us.
I still think we can put them to use somehow, but I'm letting Sloan have this one. Either way, we need their location.
As you can see, it does work, but also in that gameplay I showed that I actually went to orbit, came back, and I shown that you do not actually have to start the adventure no safe distance. All you have to do is simply just have the combination blow skill tree on your Arcstrider, and your melee animation will just be a glitch while holding the tractor cannon. I haven't tried this with the other classes, unfortunately, because this is kind of like a last minute episode, if that makes any sense. I've been super busy, but nevertheless, you don't have to actually start the no safe distance what they called again, adventure. And all you have to do is just have the combination blow skill tree on your Arcstrider, and your animation will be glitched while using the tractor cannon. I don't know why. It looks kind of fun. I'm guessing because the tractor cannon, the way it's designed, your hand's actually inside the gun. Like I said, I don't know if this works for all the other classes. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section. But nevertheless, it does work, but you don't actually have to start that adventure to get this to work anyway. So Let's move on to the next one. Noah Damien says, Myth, can you break a vent in the injection rig public event right when the injection rig lands? So he wants to know, you know, the injection rig where you break those vents. If you break all 3 sets of vents, you start the heroic public event. We just want to know, can you actually break the vent once the injection rig lands? Because as you know, with the injection rigs, once they land, they open for like a split second. Can you manage to get enough damage output to actually damage a vent there and then? Without further ado, let's show what we got. As you can see from that, of course you can. A lot of you guys again might know the answer to this one, but nevertheless, yes you can. All it took was me just shooting one Nighthawk bullet straight to the vent, and it started smoking, and then we continued with the public event, shot the other 2 down, and we managed to start the heroic event. It does work. It does work. So let's move on to the next one, which is from Unknown Master. Now it says, Myth, can you throw a 6th hammer while tempered metal is on? Now when you actually use Hammer of Soul, I'm guessing you're thinking that you can only throw 5 hammers. I actually want to show some footage here before I actually like go into this myth. So let me just show some footage here.
Anything to stop us from leaving.
And now, as you can see from that, basically with hammers, it really depends on the timing, or I'm guessing how the game is running, etc. Because sometimes when you're with hammers, it doesn't matter what perk you have on. Sometimes you will throw 5 hammers and not be able to get that 6th one out. It will just disappear as you try and chuck it. But sometimes for some reason you can actually manage to chuck that 6th hammer out of your hand. I was actually doing this while I was in the game mode where you actually get your super, because this is a new Titan that I created. I recently had a female Titan, but I wanted to go back to a male Titan because I think male Titans just look, they just suit the Titan look, if that makes any sense. They look more beefy. So I thought, okay, this is a Hammer of Soul myth. I haven't actually got my Hammer of Soul yet, believe it or not. So, you know, let me actually go and get it real quick. And I was doing it while I actually was doing the mission. And once you do this mission, before you actually get out of this mission, when you have your hammers, you don't have any of the perk trees unlocked anyway. So I didn't even have tempered metal or any other skill tree on. I had strictly just the default hammer perk, the default super. And you can actually throw a 6th hammer without any of the perks anyway. But it just really depends on, I'm guessing, how quick you are. But sometimes I was like throwing them as fast as I could, but I could only get 5 out, and this 6th one just wouldn't really get thrown. It would just disappear. So it was kind of weird. I guess it just depends on how the game is running, how it decides what's going to happen. But you can throw a 6th hammer anyway. So hopefully that answers your question, Unknown Master. Let's move on to the next one, which is coming in from Cheesy Stuff. Do the Skyburners over bullets go through taken Phalanx's shields like the normal Phalanxes? So without further ado, let's show what he means. Unfortunately, no, they do not. And again, a lot of people probably already know this one because, you know, the gun's been out since the release. Of course, some people have probably already tested this and probably shown it on YouTube. So again, I'm sorry if that wasn't like a crazy one, but I'm not gonna lie, the recent comment section haven't been like the most lively myths, because you know, I can only do so much in PvE, but when PvP comes out early 2018, boy, are we gonna have a ton. It's gonna be so much fun. Well, not PvP in general, but private matches come out in early 2018. Let's move on to the next one, which is coming in from Brandad 2011. Myth: using Phoenix Dive without the Daybreak active, can you slam enemies into the ground or teammates when they jump to kill them? So without further ado, let's show it. As you can see, no, you can't just land on top of the head and kind of slide down them. No damage is taken. I guess they already thought of that anyway, because once you actually have Daybreak active and do a Phoenix dive, it sets off like a little explosion field on the floor. But of course, without Daybreak, why would it even bother to do damage if they've got that as a perk? So let's move on to the next one, which is coming in from Voidal Spirit. We'll land in a Mobius quiver tether in 8+. While you have the Orpheus rig on fully replenish, while you have the Orpheus rig on, will it fully replenish your super while you're using the super, if that makes any sense. So without further ado, let's show it.
Portal destabilized. Ready?
So as you can see, I went on that Titan public event where a ton of thralls come out. No, it doesn't charge. It doesn't start charging your super when enemies are tethered until the tether actually goes away. Of course, I can see why you thought this, because if you have a normal tether and you shoot your arrow, it goes away instantly and your thing starts to charge up. But once you have like a quiver on, what happens is you can fire multiple arrows, and he's thinking, you know, will those arrows start charging it while you're using your super? But no, it doesn't. It doesn't start charging until your super is fully depleted. That doesn't work. And yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Moving on to the next one, which I thought I'd just put this in. I guess you guys can answer this in the comment section below if you want, because technically the myths on this aren't going to be kind of used next week, maybe or maybe not. I'm not entirely sure. You can comment myths if you really want to, because of course, like I said, I'm thinking about doing the next week's episode Curse of Osiris theme, so I'm going to be asking for Curse of Osiris myths in an announcement video next week. But Captain Ice says, will the DLC fix the game and make it more fun to play? I guess you guys can comment your thoughts on the comment section below. But one thing I do want to say real quick, I'm really sorry for this being a kind of a mediocre episode of Mythbusters. Like I said, there hasn't really been a lot of content in terms of Destiny 2 Mythbusters and PvE in the comment section. Because of course, like I said, I can only do so much. Early 2018, we're of course going to have private matches, and it's going to bring the livelihood back to it again. I'm now doing Mythbusters on different games as well, Call of Duty, Overwatch, etc. But like I said, next week, of course, Curse of Osiris would have already been released. And I think the day before I do next week's episode, I'm going to make an announcement video saying that the episode will be Curse of Osiris themed. And you guys can comment down below all the Curse of Osiris myths and see how that will go over. Feel free to comment myths on this video anyway, just in case the Curse of Osiris themed myths don't go as well or as good as we thought it would be. So feel free to comment myths on this anyway. But yeah, like I said, I'm sorry for this being not the best episode, but I wanted to give you guys something just before Curse of Osiris release. I didn't want to give you nothing at all. So again, I'm sorry. But nevertheless, for what it is, I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, be sure to leave a like. If you haven't, you know, leave a dislike. It's entirely up to you. That's what the rating system is there for. Comment your myths for the next week's episode. And yeah, like I said, the reason why I'm saying comment your myths for the next week's episode is simply because just in case the Curse of Osiris theme myths doesn't go as planned, I'll then be able to go back to this video and see myths anyway. But I'm going to stop blabbering on. I've been talking way too much. Again, one more time, I'm sorry for this being a mediocre episode, but I wanted to give you guys something instead of nothing. My name has been Violate, and I'll see you guys on the next video.